Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Head versus Heart podcast. So, in this episode, we're going to be talking about just feeling sad, feeling bad, feeling overwhelmed, feeling really low, and yeah, just like how to cope with it. Um, so, if you're in England right now, there's going to be a lockdown starting from Thursday, and yeah, things have been really tough for me mentally, and undoubtedly they have been for you guys. If they haven't, then great. That's awesome. If they have, then yeah, I share your pain also. Um, okay, I'll just talk about my experience and maybe you guys can relate. But each day is just so different. Like some days I feel like I can't cope and I'm like, why am I here? And the other days I'm like, okay, I feel like I can get through this day and not question it. And it's been so rough. Like for some people, I guess what gets them through the day is hope. Like they have something to look forward to after this whole, COVID situation is over. Maybe they had plans for next year to do things, or they have friends they want to meet in another country, or they feel like they have a future. And pre like pandemic, I was really optimistic about my future too, but now I've got to the point where I guess this is a depressed person speaking to you right now, because I feel like everything's just pointless. And honestly, there's days where I'm like, shit, like why am I even here? Like I literally just think to myself, you know what? If I committed suicide right now, it's not selfish because I'll be helping people because my organs could be donated to help others, and I kind of don't want to be here. Like that's my line of thought. And then like, you know what? Then I might meet a friend or speak to a friend, and then I'd feel a lot better. But in my day to day, in general, it's just like, yeah, what is the point? I don't feel that great. And so if you guys relate to any of this, then I recommend therapy. And I'm going to release a video on this soon on my YouTube channel, anasianasian.com, about me trying therapy. Um, the thing is, it's with the whole situation happening in the world right now, everything is really inconsistent. So, you know, I think it is actually a normal response for you to be really anxious and to feel depressed, because you are literally stripped away. Um, your freedom is stripped away, and you aren't able to do as many things as you could before. And it is really overwhelming. And to cope, well, your brain can't really cope, right? Or the emotions can really just cloud your mind. And see, and now I'm speaking about this logically, I understand that, like, if I look back at this when I'm like 90, um, if I'm planning to live that long, jokes, I'll be like, you know what, 2020 was just a joke. Like, we're not even going to include that year in my whole in my whole life story. We're just gonna like uh, like get rid of that from my memory because it was just so like traumatic. Like that's the way I'm gonna look back at it and just like laugh at it. Um, because right now, honestly, I don't know, how are you guys coping? Leave a comment down below if you're watching this on YouTube, because for me it's been so tough. And if I was to say this is the best year of my life, I would actually be lying to you 100%. If it is the best year, it'd be in a bittersweet way, as in like, oh, like being in a tough situation shed light on a lot of things. It would be that kind of, lesson, so to speak, versus, oh, I'm having so much fun right now. And so with Thursday, with lockdown coming into place and my gym closing, so I didn't get to do jiu-jitsu this whole time, but I did do Muay Thai. I got into that, which was really fun. But now the gym will close. So with that happening, you know what? I'm like, I want to take this as an opportunity to, meditate and actually just hone in on that. Because actually, after this whole experience, you know, us trying to control the future, us wanting to have our lives mapped out the way we envisioned. And then, oh, this pandemic happens. Oh shit, like my life is just crumbling to pieces and I don't know what's going on and help, this is scary and nothing is stable. I'm about to have a breakdown. Like that kind of mentality, right? Makes you realize that you were never in control anyway. Like you were actually never in control of your life anyway, and you're not. Like it's like the universe has a plan for you, and you don't actually get to choose a lot of things. Um, you can't plan your life, and that is such a fundamental but big concept to, I guess, to learn like after experiencing this whole pandemic because yeah, we are not in control. Like even if like let's say right now like you're working or say right now you're unemployed or you're on furlough, well like that's obviously a major disruption to your life, right? But even now if you have a job, like anytime the employer could be like, okay, we're gonna lay you off or you're gonna lose your job, whatever. Like we're never fully in control of anything. And even as an entrepreneur, like you have a business, you're never in control of 100% of the sales. Like you're never in control of anything. And I think a global lesson for all of us. I mean, put it in another way, like everyone's going through something and it's like a collective spiritual awakening, right? Or a collective dark night of the soul, depending on how spiritual you are, how spiritual you see it. But we are all learning to surrender, I think, and I think we're all learning to let go. And I think, you know what, after this, I'm just gonna be like more chill and more open minded. Like whatever happens, happens. Like I have a plan of what I want to do, where I want to go. But you know what? I'm at the point where I have nothing to lose. Like I feel like I'm just at zero now. Like I'm just getting through the day. Like I'm finding little things in the day to be happy about. Like I'm at home in England, not training. But you know what? I'll find joy in like drinking that cup of tea. I'll find joy like in my hot shower and appreciate that, and I'll find joy in meditating, having a deeper sense of inner peace. Like my inner world is like calm versus like the whole world right now. I'm not even like looking at all of the you know the craziness out there, but finding joy in the little things. And I think that's what has helped me cope, by finding joy in the little things. Because if I want to find things to be ungrateful for, if I want to find things to be unhappy about, there is no shortage at all. And you know what? I have like unknowingly just gone down that route. And that's when you start to feel really depressed and you just feel very hopeless. Um, the thing is, as well, if you feel like that, don't blame yourself, because I have this thing, and maybe you guys can relate too, of just feeling really guilty about being sad. And this might be related to the way some friends or definitely family members have treated you. Like if you say you're sad, so like someone said to me, Jess, why do you even feel bad? You don't even have COVID. Like there's other people suffering more than you out there. And like I was like, whoa, that's the last time I ever speak to you about anything. So like they were literally gaslighting me. And this person has been in therapy, by the way. So like they've been in therapy for like over 10 years. So they actually I don't know what kind of therapist they have, or I don't know what they're going through, but either way, just because someone like is doing therapy doesn't mean they're a safe person to speak to. Anyways, that was completely invalidate my feelings, but that's the whole kind of that's the way I feel as well. Sometimes when I feel sad, sometimes I gaslight myself and I'm like, oh, you know what? I feel sad, yeah, but I shouldn't feel sad. I should be just grateful that I have everything that I have. And that's just like a split mirror image of my parents. So I've literally just like instilled all of these like negative like thinking habits from them, because whenever I feel sad, my dad would be like, and mom would be like, oh, you have like a roof over your head, you have a bed, why are you sad for? Like they just like get over it straight away. And as an adult, that's not helpful, and that's dangerous, because you're just invalidating yourself and you're living like with suppressed emotions, and that just creates a buildup. And Yes, it can lead to depression. um, oh man. So if you do feel like you can't really express yourself, express your emotions, I mean, I'm learning this, and it is a really tough one because you feel guilty for being sad, right? You feel like, oh, I don't deserve to be sad, as if like you have to be entitled to be sad, like, or as if you have to like earn it to be sad. Like you know, and I've realized that like sometimes I really try to be happy all the time, and you know what, being sad is normal too. Like I laugh a lot, so if I cry as well, is that not like normal? You know, the balance of the yin and yang. Like in on a daily basis, I'm not going to be 100% happy all the time, am I? That's just normal. Um, and ironically, if I suppress my sad feelings, it almost keeps it at a low level. So it's still there, it's not gone, but it keeps it at a low level that it kind of bubbles up in the background, and then it kind of like tints my day, and then it might like erupt when it builds up. So it's not even a good thing. Like if you want to be logic about emotions, this is not a logical solution because you're actually making it worse. So let's say right now, let's say, okay, I feel sad about this situation, I feel disappointed. You know, you might feel like, oh, I'm stuck at home, I feel really anxious, I feel very hopeless, and then you might just want to journal it out, and like no filter, just journal out all your like really like negative thoughts, even to the point where you feel like you really like it, you know, suicide, even of those thoughts. By the way, I'm not condoning suicide. If you do need mental help, please get help. um yeah, call the Samaritans. I think it's 116123. Double check on that, but make sure you get help. You can email them as well, joe@samaritans.org, if that is the correct email address, but please research it. Either way, what I'm saying is, instead of keeping those like bad thoughts on the back burner, just write it all out, and you can even burn it on a candle, but just acknowledge it and then just throw it away, because when you do that, you release it, and then you can go back to being neutral, and it still might come up. That's fine. Like sometimes negative emotions take a long time to process, and that's fine. But as long as you're like actively just listening to it, then that helps it more than suppressing it. And if you do feel guilty about being sad, then that's a whole another situation that links to other things. So yeah, like I said, it could be people telling you that you have no right to be sad. Yeah, in that case, don't speak to those people, don't open up to those people. Like I've literally been able to like stand on one leg now, and start to build my self-confidence from this like depression that I've been through by speaking to supportive people. It's like you got to be careful who you're choosing, man. You got to be careful who you spend your energy with, because one person can push you to suicide, you know what I mean? um and yeah, that's why you have to protect yourself. So make sure you look out for yourself, and it's okay to be like I can't talk to you right now because I'm vulnerable, or just it's okay to not speak to certain people, even if you know there are certain family members, or you know they feel like they're entitled to speak to you. It's fine not to, because for your own mental health you have to do that. And you know what, you don't have to explain yourself, because sometimes explaining yourself, that just gives them a chance to invalidate you even more, and like, you know what, just don't even bother. So do what you have to do. Some of you might not even realize that someone's making you feel a certain way, but just kind of like, if you feel really bad after speaking to someone, just notice like, wait, why did you feel so bad, and kind of take note of that, and then take note of people that you feel good around, and spend more time with those people, because honestly, there's no shortage of good people in the world, right? It's just when we get so used to like being around certain people, especially when they invalidate emotions, like actually it's fine to feel sad. It's actually okay to be sad. You can cry it out. No one's going to judge you. And you know what? Like your friends should support you. Otherwise, they're not your friends, right? And yeah, make sure you find good people, because there are good people out there. So yeah, in terms of coping, I think I did already mention therapists. So that I think is really good. Um, yeah, so if you're in England, I would recommend that you just go on NHS website. You can just Google NHS therapist, and you can put your postcode in and find some therapy online. And there's a waiting list, usually of like 2 to 3 months. I know that is such a long time, but by the time you like need it, I mean, you're gonna need it anyway, so you might as well do it. And like when they come and contact you, you'll definitely need it by then. Like you'll need it in 2 to 3 months' time, let alone now. Oh, you need it now, let alone in 2 to 3 months' time, right? So it's good to just apply anyway. And the thing is, the thing I found with NHS is that like I while they like to use CBT, so it's called cognitive behavioral therapy, and it's like reframing the way you see things, in short. I mean, I'm not a therapist, but that's the way I think it works. I'm not going to explain it in detail, you can research it. So the essence is that, okay, if you're feeling like really low and suicidal, they can help you out, and you can bring you back to a state where you're just, I guess, functioning on a daily basis. So that is where CBT is helpful. And to be honest, I think it's like meditation. Like meditation has helped me from feeling really like low to get to a normal functioning state. Um, but if you wanted to heal more of your long-term traumas or more deeper issues, then yeah, CBT isn't the solution. But if you do feel low and really suicidal, I definitely recommend you, you seek out a CBT therapist through the NHS website. There's other types of therapy I haven't explored yet, but I do feel like every single different situation in your life or different problems that you have require different types of therapists. So, say like if you um, grew up in an abusive household with emotionally abusive parents, with parents that didn't have a happy marriage, with a parent who is emotionally dependent on you, and you have partners that are also emotionally dependent on you, and like all these problems in your own relationships, that wouldn't be CBT therapist. That would be more of a psychiatrist, I think, or of a, yeah. Either way, there's a lot of options with therapy. So like if you try therapy and you're like, oh no, therapy's not for me or whatever, then don't cross it off completely, because there's definitely like something in therapy for everyone and every type of problem. Like with counseling, so counseling is just like talking to someone and they're listening to you. That can be good if you want to vent and just have someone listen to you, but it doesn't necessarily solve like any long-term things. It won't help you solve your intimacy issues or your trust issues, but it will help you feel like there's someone to speak to. So if you do feel suicidal and you feel like you can't speak to anyone, then that's a good short-term thing. Again, like I mentioned, Samaritans is something you can just call up and they can speak to you. That's like counseling, so it's like no judgment. Literally, I've spoken to them before, like for 1.5 hours. And you're probably thinking, oh Jess, like I'm really nervous, I can't call people, I'm really like social anxious. Well, I am too, but with the Samaritans, like I've been so desperate, like literally like breaking point, I just had to call them. So yeah. um there's also email address as well. I think it's joe@samaritans.org. So whatever floats your boat. But honestly, like if you really do need help, then there's definitely help out there. Don't worry about that. Just don't suppress your sad emotions and don't feel guilty about being sad. Fuck what anyone tells you. Um, yeah, and be proud of yourself for getting this far. Like be proud of yourself for making it through those days. And I don't know what gives you guys hope. Yeah, how I've been coping is like meditation. Yeah, meditation really, because you know what? Like on a really, really deep note, like we all have these anxieties, we're all thinking about the future, but no one is thinking about now. Like the only moment we have is now. And that's the only place we can find happiness and joy. And that's the beauty of life, because it literally, if you're eating something and you're just thinking about the next meal, are you even enjoying the current meal? If you're like going to bed and you're worrying about the future, then are you even enjoying your sleep properly? That's probably not as of a good analogy, but the whole point is life is meant to be enjoyed now, and this experience has really taught me that, because if I'm living in my head, I'm not really living now. And like I said, like enjoying the little things has really helped me cope. So um anyway, I hope this helps anyone out there that needs to hear this. It's been really rough for me. Honestly, don't feel ashamed for feeling sad. You're not a superhuman. Feeling sad is just part of being human, and I would part of me would get annoyed, like, oh, why can't I just be stoic and just like not feel sad or anything? But the thing is, if you don't feel sad, how can you feel happy? Like, there's a whole array of emotions, and like sadness and happiness, that they're like, yeah, none of them are better than the other. Like, you have all types of different emotions. Like, if you feel happy, then it's normal to feel sad too. So you are human after all, and you should give yourself more credit than you think. Um, okay, to end with, I'm going to recommend a movie that you watch. So if you relate to this whole, oh, I suppress my sad emotions shit, then check out the movie called Inside Out, because it basically explains everything that I just said, but in a really fun way. Yeah, it's a movie, and yeah, you'll know when you watch it, but it's very uplifting and it's a feel good movie, and you'll feel less sad afterwards. So yeah, I hope you guys have a lovely day. Take care. Forgive yourself if you make mistakes or if you fall back into old patterns. And remember that life is a balancing act. So like each day you might feel like good in the morning, bad in the middle of the day, crappy in the evening, and then a bit better at night. Like, it's all like an ebb and flow, right? And same with your whole week. Like, it's up and down, up and down. Same with your whole life. Life is like seasons. Like, it's not going to be constantly happy all the time. Like, there's no point in thinking that, and it's unrealistic. So it's more like just feeling your emotions, feeling what's going on, and just go with it, ebbing and flowing with it, and just, yeah, just enjoying it, enjoying life. So have a lovely day, and I'll see you later. Ciao.